Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a lovely Tuesday, nice evening. You done had your dinner, you relaxed, you're having a nice day. The Empire Edition. I think I kind of like that. Thinking about coming up with a new name. I am going into my second year um, as a podcaster, an entrepreneur, and YouTuber. And I've also reached 100 views on one of my shorts, so I'm very proud of myself. Got to give myself a pat on the back. So I'm thinking about changing the name. You guys let me know what you think of the Empire's Edition. I still want to keep that E in there. Um, but I got some disturbing and interesting news to talk about, and I hope that you guys are being careful out there when you go into the grocery stores and you're consuming this food and these beverages, because this is really, really getting serious, and it's kind of scary knowing that the government is doing this. Okay. So we're going to dive right in. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to let you guys know what's going on. But they're saying that vaccines are being injected in tomatoes, lettuce, and even tobacco products. So you guys really, really be careful, because you never know what we're consuming and putting in our bodies and how it's triggering or affecting other parts of the body, especially if you have a weak immune system, if you're a child. It's just really crazy what they're doing and what they're. So we're going to dive right in. A Republican suggests that vaccines may be getting injected into lettuce. And I was like, what? A Tennessee state lawmaker said during a recent session that various companies and medical entities are capable of injecting vaccines into lettuce, tomatoes, and tobacco. Republican State Representative Scott Chapicki said during a House Health Committee hearing on Wednesday that the public should be wary about vaccines being intentionally put into foods commonly found at grocery stores, excuse me, much to the chagrin of Democratic Chairman John Ray Clements. Chapicki said that the University of California, Riverside has perfected vaccinating lettuce, adding that the University of California, Berkeley has conducted similar tests on tomatoes, and that the R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company has mimicked that with tobacco products. Clemens said Chapicki asked Chapicki if it is legal, to which Chapicki replied, "I'm not arguing that point," adding that no current law exists deeming that a head of lettuce at a grocery store includes vaccines. He said such vaccinated plants should be listed as pharmaceuticals, so people can get the proper dosage. What if you already had the dose? What if there's something in the dose that might affect your body, because everybody can't take that dose? Know your health, know your body, because this is wild. In September of 2021, U.S. Riverside published an article about school scientists studying whether they can turn edible plants like lettuce into mRNA vaccine factories in a similar fashion to how COVID-19 vaccines employed messenger RNA or mRNA technology to battle infectious diseases. The project was conducted via $500,000 grants from the National Science Foundation with the goal of displaying whether DNA containing mRNA vaccines can be successfully delivered into the part of a plant cells where it can reciprocate. Replicate. I'm sorry, my bad. Replicate, demonstrating the plants can produce enough mRNA to rival a traditional shot, and finally determining the right dosage. Research was conducted with scientists from UC San Diego and Carnegie Mellon University. Ideally, a single plant would produce enough mRNA to vaccinate a single person. Juan Pablo Geraldo, associate professor at UC Riverside and lead project researcher, said at that time, "We are testing this approach with spinach and lettuce and have long term goals of people growing it in their own gardens. Farmers could be also eventually grow entire fields of it." The ability to reproduce mRNA vaccines and plants is a technology that has been successfully demonstrated either at a lab or commercial scale. A university spokesperson told Newsweek via email on Friday, "It's feasible, it's still being tested, and the technology does not yet exist." Clemens asked Picky whether vaccinated lettuce is available in any Tennessee grocery store under state law, wondering if his request could lead to Walgreens pharmacists with a refrigerated section. I'm sorry. I mean, how is this going to play out? Clemens asked. Topeka responded that it is more of a consumer protection bill, providing the example of someone going to buy tomatoes and being aware of the fruit containing a polio vaccine. Hmm. The problem you have if it's not treated at a pharmaceutical being the size and the difference between you and me. How many tomatoes do I have to eat to get the proper dosage versus how many tomatoes you have to eat? And if you eat too many, you get an overdose, Topeki said. If you eat too less, like we had in the cattle industry with the aromycin, we weren't dosing our cattle properly, and the horn flies were developing an immunity to it. If we don't have the proper dosage of the vaccine, it could lead to the efficacy of that drug not working anymore, he continued. R.J. Reynolds began exploring such research 1 year earlier in the infancy of the coronavirus pandemic. James Figler, Executive Vice President for Research and Development for the nearly 150-year-old company, told NRP in October of 2020 that his company, Kentucky Bioprocessing, was one of two using the tobacco plant to attempt to produce a key protein from the coronavirus that could be used in a vaccine. Other tobacco companies, including Canadian biotech company Medicargo, were working on similar research and among the first to begin testing in humans. Medicargo used plant-based virus-like particles as part of the widespread COVID-19 vaccine available in Canada. That's scary because we're feeding this to our children's. Again, what if you already vaccinated? You cannot do that. Just that's not right. So you guys tell me your thoughts. I think this is really scary. Me myself personally, you can comment all you want. I'm not taking no vaccines. I haven't took no vaccines, and I thank God, okay, that I haven't caught COVID and been that seriously ill, or I wouldn't be here if I could say passed away. But and yes, our household did catch COVID. It was in the end of that second year, so it wasn't that bad. And I think that my husband, yeah, because he had to get the vaccine, and everybody in the house still caught it. So no. And everything that is in those vaccines they can cause other health issues. And by my health being the way that it is, I'm not taking chances. I am not. I am not. So that one goes to say this, guys. This is going to be the second thing that I'm going to talk about some popular foods that are banned in other countries, like your cheese, your tomato, your ketchup. Even your ketchup tastes different than you would if you was getting it out of Canada or somewhere. So these are the top 10 popular American foods that are banned in other countries. And of course, you already know why. It has too much salt, too much ingredients, just too much. Too much. Americans are slowly waking up to the sad fact that much of the food sold in the US is far inferior to the same food sold in other nations. In fact, many of the foods you eat are banned in other countries. Well, I'm going to give you a review of 10 American foods that are banned elsewhere, which are featured in a recent MSN article. Seeing how the overall health of Americans is so much lower than other industrialized countries, yeah, you can't help but wonder whether toxic foods such as these might play a role in our skyrocketing disease rates. And there are lots. Like you have number one is your farm raised salmon. Hmm. Wild salmon gets its bright pinkish red color from natural cortisones in their diet. Farmed salmon, on the other hand, are raised on a wholly unnatural diet of grains, including genetically engineered varieties, plus a concoction of antibiotics and other drugs and chemicals not shown to be safe for humans. This diet leaves the fish with an unappetizingly grayish flesh. So to compensate, they feed synthetic made products which have not been approved for human consumption, as well as other known toxicities. According to the featured article, some studies suggest it can potentially damage your eyesight. More details are available. Mm. How can you tell whether a salmon is wild or farm fresh? The fresh of wild sake salmon is bright red, courtesy of its natural content. It's also very lean, so the fat marks, those white scripts you see in the meat, are very thin. If the fish is pale pink with white fat marks, the salmon is farmed. A void Atlantic salmon is typically salmon labeled Atlantic salmon, currently comes from fish farms. The two designations you want to look for are Alaskan salmon and sake salmon. As Alaskan sake is not allowed to be farmed, please realize that the vast majority of all salmon sold in restaurants is farm raised. And I hope I don't. So, canned salmon labeled Alaskan salmon is a good bet. And if you find sake salmon, it's round to be wild. Again, you can tell the sake salmon from other salmon by its color. It's fresh, it's bright red, opposed to pink. Okay, paella, genetically engineered paella. Most Hawaiian paella is now genetically engineered to be resistant to ring spot virus. Mounting research now shows that animals lead genetically engineered foods, such as corn and soy, suffer a wide range of maladies, including intestinal damage, multiple organ damage, massive tumors, birth defects, premature death, and near complete sterilization. By the third generation of offspring, unfortunately, the gigantic human lab expert is only about 10 years old. So we are likely decades away from the human casualties. Unfortunately, it's clear that the U.S. government is not in a position to make reasonable and responsible decisions related to genetically engineered foods at this point. When you consider the fact that the Obama administration has placed former Monsanto attorney and Vice President Michael Taylor in charge of U.S. food safety, and serious conflicts of interest even reign supreme within the U.S. Supreme Court. That's right. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas is also a former Monsanto uh, attorney, but refuses to acknowledge any conflict of interest. Monsanto, I'm sorry, guys, Monsanto. Now you have, oh goodness, and this is a long word, rectipin tainted meat. How can your meat, okay. Since 1998, more than 1,700 people have been poisoned from eating pigs fed the drug, and ratopine is banned from use in food animals in no less than 160 different countries due to its harmful health effects. Effective February the 11th of 2013, Russia issued a ban on U.S. meat imports slanted to last until the U.S. agrees to certify that the meat is racapitine free. At present, the U.S. does not even test for the presence of this drug in meat sold. In animals, it's linked to reductions in reproductive functions, increase of mastitis in dairy herds, and increased death and disability. It's also known to affect the human cardiovascular system, that is your heart, and it is thought to be responsible for hyperactivity and may cause chromosomal abnormalities and behavioral changes. Where it's banned, 160 countries across Europe, Russia, mainland China, and Republic of China. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't tell you about the paella, which that was, no. Okay, the fish is banned in Australia and New Zealand. The farm raised salmon, I'm sorry, guys, is banned in Australia and New Zealand. Okay, the paella and tainted meat, all of that is banned in 106 countries across Europe, which is Russia, mainland China, and the Republic of China, Taiwan. Now, number 4, you have your flame retarded drinks. Retarded drinks. If you live in the U.S. and you drink Mountain Dew and some other citrus flavored sodas and sports drinks, then you are also getting a dose of a synthetic chemical called promitin vegetable oil. That's BVO, okay, which was originally patented by chemical companies as a flame retardant. PVO has been shown to bioaccumulate in human tissue, breast milk, and animal studies have found it causes reproductive and behavior problems in large doses. Bromine is a central nervous system depressant and common endocrine disruptor. It's part of the Highland family, a group of elements that includes fluorine, chloride, and iodine. When ingested, bromine competes for the same receptors that are used to capture iodine. This can lead to iodine deficiency, which can have a very detrimental impact on your health. Bromine toxicity can manifest as skin rashes acne, loss of appetite, fatigue, and cardiac arrhythmia, according to the featured article. Mm. It's banned in Europe and Japan. Number five, processed foods containing artificial food colors and dyes. Now, there are so many kids out there that are already allergic to things. So you would think that they would be so, I don't even know what the word to use for right now. This is really sad. I read up to three when I knew that I wanted to share this with you guys because it's, again, there's a lot that's going on in the world. And I think that each one teach one. We all need to be safe. We all need to be aware. We all need to have awareness for what's going on inside our bodies. Pay attention to your children, pay attention to your family members, because the health effects, can be hazardous. And that's just what it is. So, number five is processed foods containing artificial food colors and dyes. More than 3,000 food additives, preservatives, flavorings, colors, and other ingredients are added into U.S. foods, including infant foods. And there was a lot of infant foods that were recalled, and foods targeted to younger children. Meanwhile, many of these are banned in other countries based on research showing the toxicity and hazardous health effects, especially with respect to adverse effects on children's behavior. For example, as reported in the featured article, boxed mac and cheese, cheddar flavored crackers, jello, and many kids' cereal contain red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, and or blue 2, the most popular used dyes in the United States. Research has shown that this rainbow of additives can cause behavioral problems as well as cancer, birth defects, and other health problems in laboratory animals. Red 40 and yellow 6 are also suspected of causing an allergic like hypersensitivity reaction in children. The Center for Science to the Public Interest reports that some dyes are also contaminated with unknown carcinogens. Carcinogens. I'm sorry. Carcinogens. I want to make sure I got that correct. In countries where these food colors and dyes are banned, food companies like Kraft employ natural colorants instead, such as paprika extract, beetroot, and the food blogger and advocate Vanny Vanny Vani Hari, better known as Food Babe, recently launched a change.org petition asking Kraft to remove artificial dyes from American mac and cheese to protect the children from the well-known dangers of these two dyes. This is where it's banned. Norway, Australia. In 2009, the British government advised companies to stop using food dyes by the end of that year. The European Union also requires a warning notice of most foods containing dyes. Number six, your arsenic-laced chicken. Arsenic-based drugs are approved for use in animal feed in the U.S. because they make animals grow quicker and make the meat appear pinker and fresher. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, has stated that these products are safe because they contain organic arsenic, which is less toxic than the other inorganic form, which is a known carcinogen. Carcinogen. The problem is scientific reports surfaced stating that the organic arsenic could transform into inorganic arsenic, which has been found in elevated levels in supermarket chickens. The inorganic arsenic also contaminates manure, where it can be where it can eventually migrate into drinking water and may also be causing heightened arsenic levels in U.S. rice. In 2011, the Pixar announced it would voluntarily stop making, I'm sorry, it would stop marketing its arsenic based feed addictive. Let me start this one over, guys. In 2011, the Pfizer announced it would voluntarily stop marketing its organic based feed additive roxanazone. That's Roxarson, roxanazone. But there are still several others on the market. Several environmental groups have filed a lawsuit against the FDA calling for their removal from the market. In the European Union, meanwhile, arsenic based compounds have never been approved as safe for animal feed. And this banned in the European Union. Number 7, bread with potassium promate. You might not be aware of this, but nearly every time you eat bread in a restaurant or consume a hamburger or a hot dog bun, you are consuming probin, and it is commonly used in flours. The use of potassium promate as an additive to commercial bread and baked goods have a huge contributor to probin overall overload in Western cultures. Now, promated flour is enriched with potassium promate. Commercial baking companies claim it makes the dough more elastic and better able to stand up to bread hooks. However, Pepperidge Farm and other super successful companies manage to use only unprobated flour without any of these so-called structural problems. Studies have linked potassium probate to kidney and nervous system damage, thyroid problems, gastrologist problems, discomfort, and cancer. The International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies potassium probate as a possible carcinogen. And it's banned in Canada, China, and the EU. Number 8. Whew. This is found in snacks like chips and French fries. Um, it's just sad. I don't even know if I want to read all of these. I will be putting a description in the thing. You have, and number 10 is your milk and dairy products, and it's laced with RBGH. It's banned in so many places. This is sad. It's disturbing, and we've all known, like they say that the chicken nuggets at McDonald's aren't real, and this and that. But when you start injecting foods, and you're injecting, our children have to come up in this world, and our children's children have to come up in this world, and where and what are we leaving behind? This makes me want to go back to North Carolina and get me some farmland and start growing my own stuff, okay? Because it's harmful ingredients in everything. Like with my husband, he's just now being diagnosed, with neuropathy, and he also is a diabetic. So there are certain foods that we just can't eat. Then you try to make certain foods, like the fruits and vegetables more appealing, and that's sad that the lettuce, I mean, no. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Americans spend too much money in the grocery stores and Walmarts and Kroger's to have this kind of problem where, it's like y'all killing us off slowly. So I know I've been on here a long time, guys. You guys let me know what you think about these 2 articles. I will be putting them in the description. Tomorrow, I will be talking some more about because Family Dollar, they're being sued because they have drugs on their shelves that was expired and, you know, in bad heating areas. A lot of people got sick. A lot of people have gotten sick from that. So you guys take care. Be safe out there. And as always, be bold, be beautiful, and be blessed. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.